We go. Let's record. You're a goober. Welcome back, everybody, to the Unconnoisseur channel. I am Drew.
And my name's Matt.
Today we have an exciting album to discover and to talk about. Matt, why don't you get us started?
All right. Back in 1990, this artist, Abbey Lincoln, that we're going to talk about today, this is a quote from Abbey. Back then, in the 50s, people in the business told you what to wear, what to sing, how to stand, what expression to use on your face, and when to use it, when to laugh and speak and not speak. It was like being a prostitute. You were paid for and owned. That was a quote from Abbey Lincoln back in 1990.
That's pretty heavy duty right there. We're going to get to that quote and more as we talk about Abby as the next few minutes roll along. So, with that, I'm just going to tell you about my week. We'll go ahead and get started in that.
That sounds
Um,
good.
I've had a wild emotional week, to say the least. Of all the things that have happened, I don't have my exact notepads, but I can remember pretty much what's going on. Tuesday, after we were done with our conversation, and Monday after last week's recording, I got a text message from some dear friends of mine. Ma Cook had passed away. I grew up with Chris and Tracy and Bill, and just it was saddening, to say the least. It was a heart wrenching week. I'm gonna have to continue on with my week because it's getting choked up. I've got a picture from last summer, last time I got to see Ma Cook, and today I made some snickerdoodle cookies. I just kind of wish that she had made them instead, but I'll take them. It was a good day of memory. So it had been
Yeah.
a wild week, to say the least, as far as that emotional roller coaster. And then wild things happen when you're sitting at sax lesson. You never know what you're going to talk about. And Saturday, then Joe says that he's going to be seeing an old friend of mine, Malford Mulligan, in a few weeks in Elgin, which is where Malford grew up. And it made me think, I wonder if Malford's playing anywhere. And without hesitation, Joe says, I think he's in town this weekend playing. He's at Pootie's Hilltop. Well, Saturday night was the late one. So I drove out. Pootie's is just around the corner from us, and it really is a honky tonk. It's a honky tonk bar. That's what it
Yeah.
is. They've got restaurant food or bar food, and they've got a great bar, a little tiny stage. And Malford was playing with their local house band called Tin Cadillac, and he did two sets. So I got about 2 hours and 20 minutes of Malford singing, which was just so cool. He
Yeah.
covered Storyville tunes. He
Oh,
covered a couple of things from Archangel. He covered a few things from the Roots Gospel. Covered few things that he had written. But with the emotional week that I was already having, I caught a glimpse of the set list from the woman selling T-shirts, and I saw that at their break time, it would be a song called "Yo Yo," and it was written by a local musician, Stephen Bruton, who had passed to cancer some many years ago. And boy, that just tore me up. I
yeah.
loved Stephen, loved listening to him perform at Saxon Pub. In my bio, we talk about the two guys that I love to go listen to, Stephen Bruton and Malford Mulligan. And so in the middle of that, man, it was so good to go out and just check out Malford and see what he was up to. It's been a long time. And it's
Yeah.
his gospel tune. It's been a long time coming. So it sure was cool to go out there and see him.
Did he recognize you? Did he remember you?
Dude, I
Did
had to get
he?
up in his face. Malford's blind,
Oh,
right?
he is.
And that's
Okay.
why it's even funnier that he's got the T-shirt that says Malford Mulligan Driving School. And I knew him from the Gospel According to Austin Records, and then I got to meet him through Greg Atkins. He had been over to the house and sang there. I'd seen him at different churches, at ACL and the Gospel Brunch. Um, but then yes, he did. I'd been out and about and seen him before, and then this occasion, when I approached him, he stood up right away, and I said, "I want to reintroduce myself," and he says, "There's no reason for that. It's been a long time since I've seen you, and that's what you told me the last time you saw me." And I said, "Yeah, it's been about a year."
Yeah.
So man, it was so cool, but he got up on stage and just let it rip as
Mm.
as expected. with that, my other weekend music continues right now because I
Yes.
ran out to my mailbox just a moment ago and I got a
I
little package.
I'm excited. I cannot
Do you
wait.
think you know what this is yet?
I don't think I know what that is just yet.
You'll remember why in a moment.
Okay.
This is one of those we didn't have it originally. I'll throw the package down. I don't care. This is Dizzy Gillespie's Show Enough.
Yes.
This was Dizzy Gillespie and his sextets and orchestra. This was the compilation album that we had on our top 100
Oh,
list, and we couldn't find it. Now we
oh,
have it.
sure enough.
So,
Sure
Show
enough.
Enough, it has got 20 songs that covered, and y'all, we'll get to this in a year.
A year,
Uh,
yeah, a while.
when we get to it, you'll understand why it's been pretty fun for us to have it. But it's a compilation from what was it, Matt? Like 49 to 52. So it really was his big band orchestra stuff, and it's got some really cool songs on
Some
it.
killer
So
tunes.
we can
No,
officially now listen to it.
yes, that is amazing.
It is official.
That is
So
amazing.
and that I'm gonna end my topic with this. This week, with all the other stuff going on, the loss of my cook. We had a mom. I didn't need a second mom, but you knew growing up in our neighborhoods that moms were all over the place. They knew what you were up to. They knew the bad that you were doing, even if you thought you didn't get in trouble for it. They knew it. She was my other mother, and I loved her very deeply. And I was sad not to be there this weekend. But Matt, thanks for being at the service. I appreciate that. Then going to hear Malford, I needed to just step away, and that was a perfect exit.
Mhm.
Turns out that Lily could have gone with me. It's a wristband bar, so
Yep.
she could have gone to check out Malford, but I went by myself. And it gave me those 2 hours really just to sit and absorb the blues music,
Mhm.
really set and rest in it. This week we've had two great vocalists in our ear, one of them being Abbey Lincoln. And so this quote here really hit me. Jazz is not background music. You must concentrate in order to get the most out of it. You must absorb it. And that was Horace Silver. And
Mm.
I think that's so true because in so much in life we skim over the top. We hear the surface. We listen to a song of the album. We see the flood of emotions and do nothing about it, but the waters run deep.
Mhm.
And in the still waters on top, most people really see in life. But this week for me, I had to stop and just absorb it and really just sit in the sadness and in the joy of the blues on Saturday night.
Yeah.
What's your week been like?
Well, first of all, I got to say that yesterday was rough for me going to the showing and seeing everyone and giving hugs, and I did give two hugs per person, one from me and my family, and I would say to them, this one is for Drew.
Thank you.
And so your name came up quite a bit yesterday. There was some tears shed for sure, and then Mr. Schmidt walked in, so we got to see Jack
No
and Roberta.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah. So you know what, I was very pleasantly surprised to hang out and talk with him for 10-15 minutes and catch up with him a little bit. So
That
very,
is too
very,
cool.
yeah, very pleasantly surprised. Not that he showed up, but that we got to see him. Because
Yeah.
Kendra was kind of ready. She was ready to go. We had few other things to do, and she was ready to go. And I said, let's just sit for 10 minutes. If he's not here, we'll go, and it's okay. But yeah, sure enough, man, he showed up
That's
and
cool.
got to give him a big hug and Roberta a big hug. And I did not give them hugs for you though. Just me.
Thanks, Pat. I appreciate that. You're a
So you
goober.
mentioned Malford and the blues, and I was watching the Ken Burns jazz documentary first episode today, and Wynton was on, and he gave a quote about the blues that really stuck. It just stuck in my mind today. And playing the blues isn't about being blue. It's not about reveling in your blueness. It's about stomping out those blues. So I'm glad that you got to go hear Malfred,
Yeah.
and kind of get away for a little bit and stamp out. Because you know what, it's heart wrenching losing anyone, but especially someone that close to you and your friends and me too.
Oh yeah. You
So
were a beneficiary of the cookies that she would send home from time to time. So the
you were
the
stingy.
last
You
crumbs, but
you were stingy, which was a good thing. Those were good cookies. So, all right, hey, stay tuned. In just a few minutes, we got some other big, exciting news that we're going to cover.
oh
My
yeah.
weekend music, I got to go see Sunglasses at Night Saturday night, and Sunglasses at Night. The drummer for that band is a friend of ours. Goes to church at Fellowship with mom and dad. We've golfed together. We hang out together on other occasions. So they're a 70s 80s band, play that kind of style of music. They got two really good singers, a male vocalist and a female vocalist, and Brad just lays it down on the drums. I mean, he plays an electric set so they can control the
Mm.
volume and everything else. And the venue that we were at was a very small, tight venue, and Kendra and I and our friend Emily, we were literally right in front of the speaker, and it was loud, but not so loud that we couldn't talk. So I enjoyed that we got to hang out with them and Emily and listen to Sunglasses at Night, and just kind of enjoy a few drinks and hear some good music. So that was live music for me this week. That was the only live music I think I got to see. Yeah. which live music's always best, and then the artist that we're talking about today, Abbey Lincoln. um you know she was in my ear quite a bit this week, just with Ma Cook on my mind, and reveling in Abby's voice just kind of helped me make it through the week a little better too. So the album, you want to talk about the album? You ready?
Absolutely, Bill. Absolutely. I'm going to
or
drop
or
in.
should we spill the news? You want to spill the news? Let me spill the news first.
Spill the news first.
Okay. So, you've been watching us, following us for 14 episodes now, and I'm so thankful for the followers and the subscribers to our channel. Um, but if you don't have the time to sit and watch us, you can now listen to us on Apple Podcasts. We're
Yeah,
on
boy.
iTunes Podcasts at the Unconnoisseur. And I just got the notification that the Pandora podcast is ready. So if you listen to your podcast on Pandora, you can catch us on Pandora at the Unconnoisseur. I am still waiting for that Spotify. It's still processing the shows, and as soon as that's ready, you can hear us on Spotify. Those are the big three podcasters, where you can catch podcasts. Kendra was gracious enough to lend me her phone so I could look it up on the iTunes podcast, and she's like, no, subscribe so I can listen to it when I want to. So yeah, so we got a subscriber on the iTunes podcast, anyways. So yeah, if you don't have the time or you have things to do and you want to listen to us instead of watch us, we completely understand. But that's big news for us, just because a year ago we never thought we'd even have a YouTube channel and podcast and website
Nope.
and everything else. So yeah, so I was super excited about that this week, just getting that off the ground.
I've been watching the emails on the channel come through, and I'm like, yep, it's real.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is real.
yep,
And
yep,
it's just so
absolutely.
cool, man. Thanks for putting all the time and energy into that.
Yeah,
It's really,
yeah,
really
absolutely.
cool.
So you just did your unboxing, and what was it? 2 weeks ago, we did my unboxing with the Jazz Warriors
Yep.
album. Just want to let you know that that I did rip that this week, and I did put it up on the website at theunconnoisseur.com. There's a new link on the Unconnoisseur that says special music or special recordings, and both the Loose Tubes album and the Jazz Warriors album is now up there for you to listen to. It is a password protected site. The password is Jazz 2024 with a capital J, just so you can get in and listen to it. I don't want some rando drive by coming in and downloading or listening to the music that they're not supposed to. We know that it's not right to share music, but for our channel and for our listeners, for our viewers, I feel it's okay to share so that you can kind of be on the same
Yep.
journey as we are, listen to the same kind of music that we're on our journey with.
And I'm telling you, after this week, both where we're at currently and episode 15, Abbey Lincoln, man, to be able to listen to it and grow through the experience of all the music. We'd said it before in the first 10 episodes, we're really not big in vocal jazz, but but Abbey Lincoln. I mean, come on, we've had so many great, and I'm going to put the slide up right now showing episode 15. We've had so many great vocalists that have shaken our world, Gregory Porter being one of those. Abbey Lincoln, episode 15. This is album number 85 in the Jazzwise Guide. Abbey is Blue. And this was on Riverside. I always mess up the year, so I'm going to say 1959, and I'll put a question mark out there because I'm sure that I'm probably wrong, but it is
No, you're right. You're
1959.
1959.
So yeah, man, this album and so much more, uh, so much more had been great about this album. What was your thoughts? What rabbit hole did you fall down or run down this week?
Okay, well, I made my notes last year, and you know, you said it before. We've said it time and time again on the channel. We're not huge vocal jazz fanatics, and what we don't know, we don't know. Last year at this time when we were doing our journey, I don't think I gave her a fair shake, because she was one of the first older jazz singers that we had listened to. You know, Cassandra Wilson and Cecile McLaurin Salvant, they're newer jazz, and we kind of dug them, right? And then you throw in Abbey Lincoln, and not knowing what to expect, not knowing maybe how to enjoy it enough. But I will say this, and I'm going to give this away. My score last year would be changed if I could change my score. So I know, I know,
Yeah.
I know. I didn't give her a fair shake last year. I don't
So
know.
be prepared at the end. If I remember to ask you what the new score would be, we'll go with
Okay,
old score, new score, because
okay,
I can't disagree with that. I would have changed mine as well.
yeah, yeah. Just
And
the
I want to say this. You guys are going to hear us talk about this all the time. We've listened to it a year ago, and now we're fresh to it. We've had a year of other jazz music, one album every week. We've had a lot of albums come through our ears, and so the taste has changed. Uh, my
Mhm.
my appreciation for different albums, songs, sounds, everything has changed, and so it's only fair to have say that we've grown in our
Yeah.
musical knowledge base and appreciation. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say the very first sentence of the paragraph in the magazine, and again, we are using the Jazzwise magazine top 100 albums that shook the world from 2022 from Jazzwise. The very first paragraph says, Lincoln always had Billie Holiday's gift of inhabiting songs. Inhabiting. I love that word. It
Yeah.
just stuck out to me when I read that. Inhabiting songs. Now, her craftsmanship is
Mm.
off the charts. It's amazing. Her awareness, I know that it's Abbey Lincoln. I can recognize the voice. That's the big part for me, is the recognizability. Her creativity for me, I don't know. I'd have to probably listen to another year of Abbey Lincoln to kind of pull in the creativity. You're going to have views on this too. And the spirit, okay, the spirit, the spirit of her music. There's no doubt about it. She was a civil rights activist. She did a lot of civil rights stuff, and she did it better, I feel, than some other people did.
Yeah. Did you finish
And we'll
that
talk.
documentary from
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Netflix? Okay.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah. So anyways, the craftsmanship, the awareness, creativity, and the spirit were all there for me. And then the final one that we talk about is the emotion, how it made me feel. And again, I needed Abby this week in my
Yeah.
ear. Um,
Yeah.
it was bluesy enough to make me realize that I'm not blue and I need to stomp the blues out. So what are your initial thoughts? What do you think?
My initial take on it,
Yeah.
um, my initial take on first listening last year, it wasn't high on my list to go back and dig into.
Mhm.
Um, I started I started to appreciate the names on there because of Kenny Durham
Yeah.
and his trumpet playing. I didn't know most of the other names. Wynton Kelly on the piano, I got that, and Philly Joe Jones and Max Roach. We had come across Max, but Philly I had known about, and so I appreciated the album for what it was. Uh, I think the problem that I had is that when I first listened to it, I wouldn't have rated it very high. I knew that there was a lot of other great albums out there, though, and then and then I fell down the rabbit hole. Oh shucks! Uh, I looked at the players on it, and then I started writing down the actual song. I just wanted to rate the songs. What did I think? And
Uh-huh.
overall, I can't say that I gave anything a bad score. I hadn't made it at this time. This was what was the date we first did this one? Oh, I don't have it in front of me. I
I
did not
don't
write it
either.
down.
Nope. Well,
June
let's
June 22nd is when we did Brecker, so
okay.
that would have been
It's
first of
28.
July.
June, yeah, June. Yep,
So
June 28th.
here's the reason why I say that. Afro Blue was one of the songs we had a female vocalist do at the Texas Jazz and Blues Camp last year. And so not only did I hear her sing the song, then I got to hear all the other stuff that filters in with making that possible. So my appreciation grew on listening to Abby. Laugh, Clown, Laugh, Come Sunday, the Duke Ellington tune. Let Up was an Abbey Lincoln tune. It just, so much of this just began to hit pretty hard. Oh, I did have it 628,
Yep.
first real listen. I wrote down this: restrained playing is so true. And when, as an artist, when you start playing with a vocalist, and we have a vocalist on Sunday nights, we do backup horns and that's it. But if you're trying to blow your guts out, getting that music heard, you're killing the vocalist, you're killing the vibe. And so the musicians on the album kept it really chill in the background
Yeah.
and giving her voice the true spotlight she deserves. There are other vocalists this week, for example, um, where she's accompanied by her own piano. She's sitting there on the piano singing, and so you really do have a good blend of that. But this album did really good. My
Well,
first thoughts on it, just killer.
yeah, and
But
like you said, you've got heavy hitter musicians, Kenny Durham, Max Roach, Philly Joe Jones.
yep,
You've got heavy hitters who could carry a tune just by themselves, anyways. And then, you know, like you said, to throw those musicians in there and say, "Hey, back off. This isn't about you. This is about Abby."
yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
I appreciate that
And
fact. Yeah.
she, my rabbit hole ended in with, or ended up with, she was influenced by Billie Holiday. So go
Mhm.
check out Billie Holiday. So I got to listen to some Billie Holiday that week. She sang on Max Roach's landmark album, which
Yeah.
is where I left my week before we, after everything else. Max's Roach's landmark album, the civil rights themed recording We Insist. And to me, that was her voice for the civil rights movement at the time. And We Insist was just a killer album to listen to. Um, I listened to We Insist. The World is Falling Down, which was Clark on horn from 1990. I'm guessing that I need to figure out, maybe, I guess that wouldn't have been Clark Terry. 91, Gotta Pay the Band. Turtle's Dream from
Yeah.
95. Uh,
95. Did you rate Turtle's Dream? What did you think? Or did
I have like 4 stars next to
Okay.
it, so I would
Yeah.
probably go back to that one personally.
Uh-huh.
Holy Earth from 1998. I put in here Zoned Out, so chill and easy to listen to. Um, what I what I got to, I think that this artist, they'd mentioned that the last 10 albums of her life here were the ones where she really had her true voice out. It had
Mhm.
matured. And I wrote the note here, these albums showcase her matured and steady voice. And
Yeah.
this is somebody who's been rocking it for 50 years at that point in time. And she had just gotten, I wouldn't say her best recordings, because there was some really cool stuff in the late 50s, 60s. But I chased that bunny hole and listened to as much as I could. It was just phenomenal.
For
Affair, a love story of, or a story of a
yes.
girl in love was her first
Yes.
album.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I got about 15 albums of hers that I digested that week.
And I like the, like you said, I like the progression of watching her voice mature. Abbey is Blue was just a couple of years after she released her first album anyways, because her first album came out in 57. And then, you get Abbey is Blue in 59. I'm going to go ahead and start my slideshow while I talk
Are
too.
you?
All right. Here's the beginning of our slideshow. Whatever you do, do it to music. Cross off that music and just put jazz in there, big red letters. That's my motto. That's my credo. Whatever you do, do it to music. Whether it's laundry. I was mowing the grass today. I was making breakfast this morning, and I've got music in my ear a lot, almost all the time. But we're talking about Abbey Lincoln, so let's talk about Abbey. There's the album cover. Abbey is Blue. I love the artwork, just how, I don't want to say plain, but how understated the artwork is. Just so, just it kind of forces you, hey, what's this all about? I better check this out. I better listen to this. Then there's that picture of Turtle's Dream. Man, I know Kendra's listening to this, so I'm going to say this gracefully, but she's a very attractive lady.
Yeah, she is.
Turtle's Dream album cover. She's very, she's got an attractive face. There we go. This quote, another quote from Abbey: "The best thing that you can do is to be a woman and stand before the world and speak your heart." And I believe that through her music, Abbey was able to do that in a non-threatening way. I can say non-threatening, right?
Oh yeah.
She was able to speak her mind and let it be known where she stood without going overboard.
I would say the term that I might have used there was gracefully.
Gracefully, yes.
Yep.
Thank you. Yes.
And this will make sense in a year when we record the artist that we're talking about this week, who chose a little more aggressive.
Yeah, and if you know anything about jazz, you probably know who we're talking about, anyways. But anyways, information slide. She was born in 1930. She died in 2010. Unfortunately, when I was searching Wiki this morning, I did not see that Billie Holiday was one of her influences. So I just said not much mention for influences, but it was Billie Holiday. It was her influence. Abbey's Lincoln Affair, 1957, was her first album. Vocal jazz and jazz was her genre. Another quote from Abbey. I just, she was a brilliant person. She was very, very intellectual and very smart. But her quote: "I am the first instrument. I am the voice. I do not imitate other instruments. Other instruments imitate me." What a great quote. And again, her progression, her vocal progression, her maturity level, it just got better and better and better and better. I also found this really cool timeline on the PBS website. I will make sure to send you that link so that you can put it in the show notes. It shows a timeline of when she was born, and then like just some interesting facts about her career. The very first album, and then albums initially after that, when she married Max Roach, because she was married to Roach for what was it, like 8 years? I think she was married to Max Roach.
Yep,
do you have that in your notes?
I have written down.
Yeah. So, those two together, what an amazing pair, right? So, I will get you that link so that you can put it in the show notes. And if you're listening to the podcast, I will put that in the show notes of the podcast as well. Next slide is, I just love doing this. Today in jazz history, and this is the day that the video will come out, May the 8th. Pianist Keith Jarrett was born in Allentown, Pennsylvania in 1945. So, 1945, May 8th. Happy birthday, Keith Jarrett. All right. So the last slide today that we're going to talk about is some other notable events in 1959. 59 was a huge year. I mean, it was a big year, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So Miles Davis records Kind of Blue. And Kind of Blue, 1959, Miles Davis. Lester Young, the saxophone player, passed away in 1959. John Coltrane records Giant Steps. I mean, you're talking two masterpieces there in the same year, with Abbey Lincoln, releasing Abbey is Blue. The Dave Brubeck Quartet records Time Out, which included the song Take 5, which was one of his biggest all-time hits. But anyways, yeah, 1959, Kind of Blue, Giant Steps, Dave Brubeck, Time Out.
Dude, thanks so much for those slides each week. The information on them, the time that it takes, it may be quick and painless for you, but I know that it's minutes, hours of the day spent in that, especially looking up quotes and getting that information. So thanks so much for the slides. So what I think it is right now is a good time. Now that the slideshow's ended, I'm going to put up a few of her songs, and I'm thinking, what about Afro Blue?
Yes, absolutely. This is one of my favorite songs on the album.
Yep. What other song would you want to have up there, and why?
If we could do just maybe a clip or maybe even a verse of "Laugh, Clown, Laugh." Again, I think that really the lyrics just kind of stick out to her attitude and the way that she feels without overstepping her boundaries.
Okay.
And I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No.
But it goes to show, I mean, how much disdain maybe that she has without yelling it. So yeah, Afro Blue for me, Laugh Clown Laugh. And then you're gonna pick one?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. So
Let
all
Up.
right.
Let Up.
Let Up.
Yep.
Yep.
That's the one that I wanted to play.
So play a short clip from Afro Blue.
Two young lovers face to face with undulating grace. They gently sway, then slip away to some secluded place. Shades of delight, cocoa hue, rich as the night, Afro blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can, I mean, just the control of her voice. That was one of the other things that I made in my notes was the overall control that she has on her voice. Now, again, you and I aren't vocal jazz guys, but I can appreciate her control.
Yeah.
So you're going to play a clip from.
Here's a clip coming up now from Laugh Clown Laugh.
Even though you're only make-believing, laugh, clown, laugh. Even though something inside is grieving, laugh, clown, laugh. Don't let your heart grow too mellow. Just be a real punchinello fellow.
I was going to say the thing that I found interesting is when I downloaded the lyrics so that I could listen to the lyrics of the song while she was singing it, she doesn't sing the first verse that was written for the song. The whole first chorus. Yeah, the whole first chorus isn't even. She doesn't even sing those. She sings verse 2 and verse 3, and then she goes back to verse 2, and then she kind of does a little. Yeah, verse 3 kind of backwards or something, but it's really interesting. Great clip. Thank you for playing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And now let's play a clip from Let Up.
Let up. Let up. Let up. When will trouble let up? This heartache is dragging me down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This heartache is tearing me down.
Mm-hmm.
So much passion and so much soul in that song, and it's written by her.
Right.
What a great and phenomenal tune. I'm glad we've got those clips in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for putting those in there, by the way.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Oh, absolutely. It's fun. Yeah. It's a lot of fun just to, listen to Abby while you're researching and learning about her and finding out more about who she was and just all the great things that I like doing. So, yeah, Abbey Lincoln. Okay, let's stick with the timeline. I'm looking at the timer now. We're getting close, but anything else? Any other unexpected finds that you found this week?
Because it shook me, I
Mhm.
wanted to also look at one other thing, and it was interesting because this album was the first time that I started to think about vocalists. So who were they? And if Abbey Lincoln was inspired or found inspiration from Billie Holiday, I ended up just getting a list from Google. Nancy Wilson, Diana Krall,
Yeah,
Julia London, Cecile McLaurin-Salvant,
of course.
Anita O'Day, Shirley Horn, Dinah Washington, Blossom Dearie. Haven't heard of a lot of these names.
No.
Carmen McRae, Bessie Smith, Betty Carter, Nina Simone, Sarah Vaughan, Billie Holiday, and Ella Fitzgerald. So you start to hear some of those names that you do recognize, but this was a list of top 15 jazz female vocalists. And so if I didn't know what I didn't know about Abbey Lincoln, who don't I know? What don't I know? And so that was kind of a big deal to me to look at that and just start digging into some of those musicians.
Yeah.
I know somebody who's played with Betty Carter. And so I know that if we get to a Betty Carter week, then we'll wrestle with that. And I may have to ask him about that time with Betty Carter. But then you think of how recent some of these names are not.
Right.
Cecile McLaurin-Salvant, that's probably the most current name on the list out of the top 10, top 15.
Kroll, Diane Kroll.
Diana Krall, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she's still relevant, still
I
recent.
see that there was a new album out by her. I just came across that this morning. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that was my other rabbit hole, is just to start to listen to some of the other female artists
Yeah.
of that time.
I did more Max Roach. I kind of rabbit holed because he was someone that I've heard the name. You hear all the stories about how he's the greatest jazz drummer, and I wanted to go down that rabbit hole and listen to some more Max Roach. I didn't keep it in my notes. I should have. It's probably on my phone, all of the Max Roach albums that I listened to. But yeah, what an amazing drummer.
I can tell you, Max Roach is the greatest drummer ever. And mostly because he played with Clifford Brown, baby. I'm gonna be biased on that. Come on,
Okay,
Clifford and Roach albums; those are awesome.
I'll give you that. I will. I'll give you that. So that you said that the album shook your world, and I will say this week it shook mine too.
Yeah,
a year ago.
Tremors.
Again, Tremors, yes. Oh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. Tremors, yes, Tremors. But this week, yes, she shook me upside down.
Well, and it goes back to part of the reason why we've always just talked about a week. How has your week shaped your music listening? And to be on a blues album with a female artist who can sing the way she can sing, it hit different, especially this week to me. And so it's important to pay attention to what your week is, what you're feeling, and I say it almost all the time. It's so important to know how the music has shaped you based on what you're experiencing today. I don't think I was in the same place I was last year listening to it. And so
no way.
By every means, it did me different. So I have to know, what'd you rate the album at, Matt?
Okay. All right. Hang on. Let me get to
wait.
I will say that Abbey did not make the list in 1999. She did not make the list in 2006. So she is a brand new addition to the list in 2022. I'm so thankful that she's on the list. I'm thankful that we got to experience her. She might have been one of those artists where you hear about her, you flip through magazines and see it, album cover, and you just let it go. But because of the journey that we're on, the way that we're doing it, I don't want to say we were forced, but we got the opportunity to experience Abbey, and I'm so thankful we did. So my rating last year, again, it was not fair, but I gave her a 6.5 out of 10. And tell me what you gave her.
Well, Matt, that week I gave her a 7.5. I
Okay.
I know in this moment of silence that we're both thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
So, not to dwell on the past, because I know who's coming next week. And you want to talk about crawfishing out of your rating. We'll be crawfishing out of that pretty quick. So would you gone another point? Would you have gone up this week in
I would.
Abby's rating?
Okay, because of our personal journey as well, and the artists that we're listening to this week on our personal journey, I would, yeah, I enjoy Abby much more. So I'd go probably, yes, I'd go 7.5 for
Okay.
Abby if I could re-rate it, but that's not how
We're
we
not
do
going to
it.
do it. I'm not even
We're
going to
not
put
gonna
them.
do
I'm
it.
not going to waste the energy putting them up on the
But
screen above us.
yeah, I
Or
wouldn't.
new.
I wouldn't.
But you'd have gone to a 7.5.
Yep.
And
I'd have gone.
it's weird. I'd have jumped a whole point to an 8.5.
Okay.
Now, I think in part this week to me in general has been a time to just listen to somebody's voice who can carry you.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of that warm embrace through the microphone. I'm not going to say that I would put her on the same level as Gregory Porter in my mind.
Nope.
But she does have that. She has an embrace. Gregory's is a warm embrace.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that I would have gone another point on that.
Very good.
So yeah.
Very good. All right. Did you do any research for 6 degrees of Miles? Because it's pretty easy.
Right?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. She actually sang with Miles. And well, Max Roach played with Miles on a lot of the big ones.
A lot of them.
So you got 1 degree or you got 2 degrees.
Yep. One or two.
1 or 2, however you want to get there.
I was going to go just playing with her, and then the Max Roach stuff. There's all kinds of degrees.
Yep.
And,
so if you guys
interesting. Pardon me. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if you guys find a different way for the 6 degrees, feel free to comment and let us know.
I was going to comment to this. It's most of these artists at that time did flow in the same circles. And so I think it was a huge deal to go from the 50s and for her to continue to perform until I think it was as late as 2009. She was still rocking it, maybe even her last year. She had encountered many of the great names that we would come across. And with so few really talented vocalists of the time, she would have stood out. So that leads me to this. Who's standing out next week?
Okay.
I'm going to just because we talk about it.
Okay.
I'm going to officially turn the page.
Turn the page. Yep.
To the next one. Oh, boy.
Now we are unconnoisseurs. We are still very, very new listeners to jazz. Well, I told Kendra today, okay, hey, let's put it this way. This is the lowest score that we've given so far. And again, our score just represents how how we
haven't
the
even
album.
said the name of the band, or the person.
I know.
And you're already running
I'm already
backwards.
justifying it. But unfortunately, Abby was the lowest score that I gave so far out of these 15 episodes. And so far, this week's artist that we're going to cover from 1924 to 1930 is hit this recording that we're going to listen to, and it's Bix Beiderbecke, the Bix Beiderbecke Legend from RCA Victor. It came out on LP. And again, it was recorded between 1924 and 1930. It's going to be a ragtime mix of ragtime and very, very early jazz. So put Bix in your ear this week. Let's go over Bix one more time and get him in your ear. I know that you'll have the album cover up so that they can see the album cover, the Bix Beiderbecke Legend. You know what? Drew and I had no idea who Bix Beiderbecke was. Now, so looking forward or looking into the week and realizing kind of who he is, our scores are going to reflect our ignorance.
I love the way that is stated. That was
Okay.
to the point.
Yeah.
It will reflect our ignorance of the time
Uh-huh.
when we first went through this. So
Yeah.
you'll have to stay tuned for the rating of next week, but you can just about imagine where we might be shaking this one down. This is the caption underneath there. Big Spiderbeck on the cornet, and it was Gene Goldkit and his orchestra, Paul Whitman and his orchestra, Hoagie Carmichael and his orchestra, and then it shows Bix and his orchestra.
Yeah.
That Hoagie Carmichael, that'll come to be a name that we do really understand. We talked about it just a couple of weeks ago. You being back in Jeanette,
Yes, absolutely.
going down through the Star Piano Factory and the Jeanette Records. So those names, Bix and Hoagie, will spawn the book that we'll talk about later when we finally ordered it and decided that we were going to read through it. So those names will become and are relevant, but our rating next week will reflect our ignorance of the time, and we'll crawfish out of that deal right now. Maybe I'll leave the numbers blank. I'll beep out our rating next week so we never have to admit it on air.
That's right. That's right. You'll have to go dig on the website to find that score. Maybe we won't tell you our score next week.
Yeah. Go to the website to see how we rated this.
Yeah.
I think for the time, I just flipped the page so I could see where we were. It was fair for what we knew or didn't know.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, next week I'll put that slide back up. It's going to be Bix Beiderbecke, legend, and it will feature several of his songs from the 1924 to 1930 era. That 6-year window, they were recording, it was RCA Victor, but recording quality of that time, I will say, was not what we think about today with recording quality. I can do a lot better with my cell phone than some of the recording studios were using or doing at the time then. And that's saying a lot because we've got audio equipment to make sure our voices sound perfect and big fancy headphones to isolate noises. And they were recording on a horn that was scratching a disc for them. So keep that in mind when you find this. Matt, I don't remember, did we actually find the album or did we find most of the songs?
We found most of the songs, and I remember looking it up on iTunes, and the Legend album isn't up there. I'm not sure it's one that I'm going to even search eBay for to try and find. It's, I don't know. I may, but I doubt it. But yeah, you can find, if you look up the Legend album online, it will tell you the name of the songs. You can go then find those songs on iTunes or Google Music. So the bell just rung in my ear, so I know that our time is getting close. I just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for following along with us on our journey. You know, if you like what we're doing, give us a like, give us a subscribe. You know, it doesn't cost anything for you to make a comment, even just to tell us what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show. We're able to take criticism, and you know what? We're not pros at this. This is just something that we do for fun, and we love listening to jazz music. It has definitely changed my life in the last year for sure.
Yeah.
All right. If you got questions or you want to contact us, please feel free to email us at theunconnoisseur@gmail.com. It's tough to spell, but once you get it down, it's super, super easy. Theunconnoisseur@gmail.com. The website, https://theunconnoisseur.com. I'm on TikTok. I have been slacking these last couple of weeks on TikTok, only putting out a couple of videos. Drew, you are knocking it out of the park with the YouTube shorts. The one that you did today, it brings tears to my eyes just knowing how you're doing it. You're just knocking it out of the park.
Well,
I love
I'm finding my
one of these
rhythm and
shows.
it's getting started. I think that the more we get to record and sit in front of the camera, we understand this. We're new to that as well. The conversations I look forward to each week, Matt, and then I know that we talk again in the morning. One day, I swear to you, one day we're going to actually just hit record on those conversations, and they'll be put on Patreon or something for y'all to listen to the real truth. What happens when things behind the camera exist.
That's
And
right.
that's Tuesday mornings. We talk more about life and often forget to get to the bands or even the ratings. So yeah,
Yeah,
this has changed my world.
yeah, for sure.
Jazz has been a part of that. So
Yeah.
cool. The info
Thank.
page I'm going to put back up.
All right.
We'll
Thank
transition
you,
over to that.
Grace. Thank you, Grace, for the icons and the artwork on our channel. And coming soon, we are going to have some theme music.
Ooh,
Coming soon.
I got some recordings of Joe and Lily doing some duet stuff.
Perfect.
I'll drop that in next week.
Yeah, that's kind of what Delaney needs to lay down a beat for us, and we will have Lady D doing some drumming.
We'll have something for you by the end of the week. How's that?
Yeah, that's perfect. I love it. I love it. All right. Hey, we hope you have a great week. Be sure to put Bix Beaterbeck in your ear so you know what we're talking about next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't throw any bricks at your screen on our score. Have a great week, though. Thank you so
Cheers,
much.
everybody.